Good afternoon, eighth grade. All right, so here is our first COVID-19 distance learning lesson. So today I'd like for you to complete this page, Solving Systems of Linear Equations by Substitution, which is page 24. And I'd like for you to complete this page, Solving Systems of Linear Equations by Elimination, which is page 25. Now, these are two lessons that we have already learned in class. So what this really is going to be for most of you is review. So if you didn't learn it well in class, hopefully this does something for you, since you'll be able to replay it over and over again, pause to think, check your work. You also have access to the answers. So as promised, I'm going to do the first problem on each page. First problem on each page, but then I'll do also the first step for each other problem. All right, so remember, to solve systems of equations by substitution, first you want to solve one equation for x or y. Then you want to get that expression that x or y is equal to and substitute it into the other equation for that variable, solve. And then once you get what that variable is equal to, substitute it into the other equation and solve. So it's hard to get when you have the steps written in front of you. Here's an example. And you can find this lesson on our Class Dojo website. I sent the link directly for this. Some of you went home with the packet that was supposed to be due today if we came back to school today, but here we are. I'm going to send that packet out tomorrow, so please look out for that if you do not already have it. So here we have y equals 2x minus 1 and y equals 3x plus 2. So remember, our first step is to get x equals or y equals, and we do have an equation that says y equals. Both of them actually say y equals, so we can choose the one that we want to use to substitute. I'm going to choose the top one. So it says y equals 2x minus 1. So for both of these equations to work together, that means y has to equal 2x minus 1 for both of them. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this 2x minus 1 and substitute it into the second equation so that we can then determine what x is going to be equal to in order for this system to be, or in order to show that this system has a solution. All right, so I'm going to substitute 2x minus 1 into y. So that becomes 2x minus 1 equals 3x plus 2. That's the substitution part. And now I'm going to solve for x using inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That leaves me with negative 1 equals x plus 2. And now to isolate x, I'm going to use inverse operations on this 2. Subtract 2 from both sides. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. I bring down the x, and this positive 2 and negative 2 cancel out. So I am left with x is equal to negative 3. So that brings us to step 3. I'm going to substitute that value into the other equation and solve. So I'm going to take this x equals negative 3, substitute it into my second equation where I have x. So rewriting the equation, y equals 3x plus 2. Now rewriting it with my substitution, y equals 3 times negative 3 plus 2. And now solving, that's negative 9 plus 2, and negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So I have x is negative 3, y is negative 7, and it's a system, so I want to write my solution as a point. All right, so there is the first problem done for you, and now I'm going to do the first step for each of them. So the first step says solve one equation for x or y. If you take a look at question number 2, ask yourself, is one of the equations already solved for x or y? And as we can see, yes, the first equation is solved for x. So we want to take this y plus 4 and we will substitute that in for x, all right? Now let's look at number 3. Do you see an equation solved for x or y? Nope, me neither. But one of these equations would be best to solve for x or y first. What do you think? Is it going to be the first equation or the second equation? If you thought the first equation, you are correct. So we are going to take that and solve it for either x or y because they don't have a coefficient. I'm going to solve for x, so I'm going to subtract y from both sides, and I get x equals 5 minus y. You could have also written x equals negative y plus 5. They are one and the same. All right, that is the expression that you are going to take and substitute in for x in the next equation. Good luck. Number 4. All right, we don't have an equation that is solved for x or y, but there is an equation that would be the best one to use to solve for x or y. Which one do you think it is? If you thought the second equation, you are correct. So I'm going to take this and solve it for y. Subtract 2x from both sides, and I get y equals negative 2x plus 2. And that is the expression that you are going to take and substitute into the top equation for y. All right, now here's a doozy. Which equation do you solve and for what variable? Well, you're going to get some fractions here. There's no escaping that. But would you rather get a fraction with all these even numbers up top or with all these mixed up numbers on the bottom? I'll take the top one. So let's solve this for x. So 4x minus 8y equals negative 26. I'm going to add 8y to both sides. That 4x comes down, negative 8y plus 8y cancels out. That leaves me with positive 8y minus 26. I'm going to divide everything by 4. So 4x divided by 4 leaves me with x. 8y divided by 4, well, 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that's 2y. And now 26, that's a negative 26. Negative 26 divided by 4, I can do one of two things. I can leave it as negative 26 over 4. I can simplify it and make that negative 13 over 2. Or I can write it as a decimal, which would be 7.5, 6.5. Come back, Ben. Come back. Thank you. Negative 6.5. Check my work for me, please. All right. And this will be the expression that you want to take and substitute into the second equation. And all right, I'm sure with this one, we could figure it out. Is it the first equation we want to solve or the second equation we want to solve? The second. 2x plus y equals 4. What am I going to do? I'm going to inverse operation on this. 2x. Yes. I get y equals 4 minus 2x. And that is the expression you're going to take to the top and substitute. This bottom question, I'm sure you got that on your own. How do you decide which variable to substitute when solving for a system of equations by substitution? Explain. You got this. I think I said it a couple times up here, so you can just rewind this video and watch that. But I will create a different video for elimination. All right. If you have any questions at all, please email me at subupere@albanycommunitycs.org. Running out of space. Slide. All right. Take a moment. Write that down somewhere. I will be available. Also, I'm on Class Dojo. If your parent has not signed up for Class Dojo yet, please make sure they do so. It is absolutely important in this time that we are in. We have to make sure that you get the education that you need. All right. So please, 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 any questions that you may have, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am here for you. I got you. We got this. All right. Stay tuned for the next one.